Welcome back to OpenLine. Talking about the presidential election. All kinds of calls. People commenting here on my Facebook page. John T. Wildman, so much manipulated data. I find I spend a great deal of time fact-checking or double-checking information, and even then, the other side won't believe it. Wanda Carter said of the election, it's a joke. Hope it turns out better than it seems. And they're pretty in line with what we're seeing here.
They are.
Let's go to David. Hello, David.
Yes.
Go right ahead.
I'm talking about there's something like a hypocrisy going on. Some people have said that Donald Trump should step down. Like today, a governor said something like that.
Right.
And I'm saying the current president has been to Nashville many times, but the governor never went to the airport, to meet him.
Right.
Or to receive him. So how can someone who never went to the airport, several times the president has been here to meet, have the pedestal to say to someone to step down because of what someone said 12 years ago?
So yeah,
I think it's some kind it's a little bit hypocritical or something. Maybe hypocritical is not the word. But someone who had done something like that, who shouldn't be telling someone.
All right, thank you, David. So he's saying Governor Haslam has said that Donald Trump should step down. Not just that he won't vote for him, he should step down. But David points out when President Obama visited Nashville on more than one occasion,
and again,
he was not greeted by the governor.
It sort of goes to my point earlier about how public opinion seems to be split into right and left, and there would have been many people in Tennessee, Republicans particularly, who would have interpreted meeting the president as an endorsement. It would have been sort of toxic. And from one perspective, maybe you could say this time maybe Haslam is actually showing greater courage, because I'm sure he knows that many people in Tennessee probably do support Trump. It's his judgment, apparently, after the tapes, that he no longer can do so. And I think that's a respectable position, but maybe not entirely consistent.
It's interesting. They talk about this. The Republican Party is going to split. Do you see that?
Well, it almost has.
I mean, it almost has split, because you have Haslam, and I think he's got a circle around him that's a fairly, it's probably a George W. Bush type group, and the Bushes are not supporting Trump. Sure. And then you have this other kind of Tea Party, and I don't know how to say it, but they're certainly not country club Republicans that are adamant for Trump. So what does this do to the party?
Well, I mean, again, one interpretation would be to say that the party has been hijacked. I mean, you basically have someone who has not previously identified solidly as a Republican. Many of his positions are not traditional Republican positions. I mean, that's one position. As to go back to what we said earlier, because he doesn't have the history with the party, I don't think people feel quite the loyalty to him that they might otherwise feel.
And we're seeing that. All right, let's go to Peter. Hello, Peter.
Yes, hello.
Go right ahead.
I wanted to go back in time a little bit to the beginning of the Democratic Party and the founder of the Democratic Party, which was Andrew Jackson. And as most anybody would know that has done some research on history knows that Andrew Jackson was the owner of several hundred slaves. This, can be seen if you go out to the Hermitage plantation out there. And, he was also the one that forced many Native Americans onto reservations. And we know another word of reservation is ghetto. And now, fast forward just a little bit. After the slaves were freed, the first founder of the KKK was a pledged Democrat to the DNC at that time. And he was the founder of the first era of the KKK. And, the second era of the KKK, I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Simmons. He was a former minister. Okay, I've done some research over the past several months that God knows that I never thought I would even be doing. but I've come across this stuff, and the research can show that this information is out there. And
well, the question is what about now? I guess how...
Nowadays, well, because then, okay, things were done more on a direct approach. Nowadays, it's a con game, okay? And the game is the same. The rules have changed. That's it. Now it's a con game, and Hillary Clinton is one of the biggest con artists out there. And does the name Saul Alinsky sound familiar? Okay. You'll do a little bit of research on him, and then realize that Obama and Clinton both, subscribe to his theories.
Okay. All right. This issue of Donald Trump is trying to make inroads in the African American community. It's going to be a tough fight, but here you hear what Peter says with the history and everything else. That vote, it's going to be hard for Donald Trump to make inroads there.
I mean, we have sort of flipped, after the Civil War, Republic or African Americans, when they were allowed to vote, typically did vote Republican. Lincoln had issued the Emancipation Proclamation, worked for the 13th Amendment. That roughly changed around the New Deal, where Democrats tended to appeal more to some of the social programs that appeal to African Americans, and fought a little bit harder ultimately for some of the civil rights issues. I guess you would say that neither the current Democrat nor Republican Party is your father's or even your grandfather's party.
Let's go to Bryn. Hello, Bryn.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Go right ahead.
I'd like to make a few statements. I don't really have questions, if I may.
Okay, we don't not a lot of time, but go right ahead.
Okay, first of all, the last caller, what he was talking about is in a movie I saw today. It's called Hillary's America. Particularly black Americans should be viewing that. And anybody that's on the fence whether to vote for Trump or for Clinton should definitely view that. It has some very shocking information about the Clintons in it. Might change a whole lot of people's minds.
Okay.
Also wanted to say I'm a woman, I'm a college graduate, and I'm a 100% backer of Donald Trump.
All right, Brent, thank you. All right, let's get one more call in. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the call. Let's go to Sarah. Are you there, Sarah?
Yes.
Go right ahead, really quickly.
Okay. When Trump started his campaign, he started out as being, I am a businessman, and I can look after America. I know how business works. I'm not looking after what he's done. I'm looking after the business that he's learning. I am number 1% for Trump, and he does not want everybody to know what all his plans are, because that's what a businessman does.
Okay.
And I am very much for Trump, and I think he'll make a good president.
All right. What do you think of the?
Well, I think he's actually the only person that I know of in American history who was neither a general or a cabinet officer or an elected official prior to being president, if he in fact becomes president.
What does that say about the time we're in? That we are so desperate for somebody outside the system? Does it say that? It
might, and again, there is a parallel with someone who ran, which was Ross Perot, largely ran on, I can get under the hood and fix it. He ultimately faded, but that was a similar appeal.
All right, we are going to take a break. We'll come back, wrap everything up, be back right after this.